We begin with Hempfield area as the Spartans. They were impressive in their season opener, despite almost an entirely new starting lineup this year. One of those new starters was Rogan Catcher, and he accounted for 3 touchdowns in the first half, including a long run late in the half to restore Hempfield's 3-score lead, as called by Jack Reidenauer and Brent Wiggum.
And off to Catcher, finds a seam, breaks free, there he goes, touchdown Spartans! Third time tonight for Catcher, and that's his longest run of the evening as well, as that hole just completely opened up, and he's not hesitating at all, saw the hole, bursted through it, right into the end zone. Third touchdown of the night for Rogan Catcher, as he has been the big play guy for these Hempfield Spartans. A great run, about 28 yards out. You can see the fantastic blocking, especially from Brady Ewing, number 2, and Joe Dolinsky. And then Catcher just finds that second gear.
Yeah, Sean, as that game wore on, Hempfield really found its footing, because in the first quarter, it was kind of a slow start for both teams, but suddenly Hempfield really started to control the game, and you saw it right there with the terrific blocking up front. And Catcher, who didn't run for many yards, still ran for 3 touchdowns. So that was a big game by him. So many new names to get used to for Hempfield this season.
Yeah, get used to the name Catcher, though, because there's 3 of them who are going to play key roles.
Well, and you told me during training camp, we went and we were interviewing, and, we had to get some B-roll, as they call it, some footage of all the guys. You said there's 3 catchers, and I'm thinking, is he using, like, another word for a receiver? Like, is he calling a receiver a catcher? You're like, no, there's 3 on the roster. I'm like, you only have 3 receivers? What are you talking about? We finally figured out that there are 3 with the last name Catcher. There you go.
You finally figured it out. I knew all along.
Yeah, that's true. You helped me a lot.
Whatever. We continue plays of the week with Greensburg-Salem, still in the same game because they were on the other side of the lopsided score, but they did receive a highlight reel play from Julian Stevens in the second quarter. He made a stellar catch and then took it to the house to get the Golden Lions on their board with their only touchdown, as called by Jack and Brent.
Pasquale throws, has a man in Stevens, and he's somehow able to catch it. Breaks free. Touchdown, Golden Lions. What an acrobatic play by Julian Stevens. And that's what they can do to him, move him all around. That time he lined up out wide all by himself. They basically just say, you go, boy, throws it up, makes a catch there. I don't know how he did it either. We were kind of shielded by his back there. Couldn't quite see it as we take a look at the replay there, but just a simple fade route right to the sideline. Stevens fights for the football, able to come up with the catch, and then does the rest with his legs. Easy pitch and catch there. Well, at least the pitch part, but Stevens does the rest, and Salem's on the board.
Yeah, we had that play up on our Twitter, man. What a terrific grab. I thought, even after looking at the replay, that he might have reeled it in with one hand and then brought the other arm over. Either way, on the back of a defensive back. I mean, that's pretty darn difficult. So what a catch by him. And again, he's going to be a force for Greensburg-Salem this year.
Yeah, certainly on both sides of the football, because he's outstanding defensively as well. We continue plays of the week with Greater Latrobe, and it was a flashback to last year for the Wildcats. Once again, they scored on their first offensive play of the season. This time it's John Wetzel finding Jaton Williams as they hooked up to put the Cats in front of Dairy Area en route to their convincing win, as illustrated by John Flickinger and Bob Lisinski.
And getting back to the game, last year, John, first offensive play for Latrobe, Fulton took it to the house, and from that point on, it was downhill. So, hopefully that doesn't happen tonight.
Fulton is not a Wildcat anymore. He's moved on. He had an outstanding season. It's Brady Perhovic who's a good one. He's back up at Wetzel on first down. Is going to load up and throw down the middle of the field. Jaton Williams has it. And Jaton Williams with a touchdown. And there you go. First play of the game, Coach. Last year, it was a rushing touchdown. This through the air, 36 yards after the Trojans go for it on 4th and long, and the Wildcats strike first.
Yeah, it's a perfect pass. He put it right on the money, and Jaton is a great receiver, John, and no doubt about that. Boy, they come out with a ball of fire here to jump on Deary early.
The Wildcats certainly have a great supply of skilled position guys this year. That's for sure. And just another season, more seasoning for Johnny Wetzel. What a terrific throw there. And Jaton Williams will also be one of the stars of their offense and defense, as we saw in that game against Derry.
Yeah, I think big things for Wetzel last year. Mostly a runner early in the season, got more comfortable as the year has gone along, but that throw indicates they have a ton of confidence in him airing it out here in 2023. Well, from Greater Latrobe to the team that they're going to be playing this week, Franklin Regional. It was a rough way to start the season for the Panthers, but much like the past few years, Aiden Hudock provided a highlight. The senior receiver delivered another long touchdown against Thomas Jefferson. It was the lone score for the Panthers, as detailed by his biggest fan, Jonathan Whalen.
In motion again, Perez from far to near. They fake it, they throw it down the sideline. Hudock is open, catch, touchdown! 32-yard touchdown catch. Aiden Hudock, Mr. Electricity, 1-on-1. What's that song by the name of that group? Kelly, 1-on-1, I wanna. You'll come up with the name. Let's look at this touchdown. In motion is Perez, but it's Mr. Hudock matched up 1-on-1 with the corner, shakes him at the line of scrimmage. Good protection by the offensive line. About 3 steps behind is the defensive back. No contest.
I still don't think Kelly has any idea what in the world Jonathan was talking about there, even though he claims she did. So I don't know how these things pop in his head, but he was trying to come up with some song there, so I don't know. We'll have to have our research team continue to look at that.
Yeah. One thing that we can continue to look at, though, is it's just a special player for Franklin Regional, and they're going to continue to use him each and every week in a myriad of ways, just getting the football in his hands because he can make some special things happen, no doubt. We continue plays of the week with Norwin. The Knights came up just short of an upset win on the road against Upper St. Clair, but Tristan Tavares established himself as a dynamic quarterback. He showed his playmaking, finding Jake Sinchak for the time score, as noted by Dave Franzak and Brian Brozeski.
2nd down and 9 now for Tavares. Looking left. Fires. Has Sinchak sidesteps one man, gets across 30, gets a block to the 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Norwin.
Tiger, hey, you got to give Tristan credit again, because that's twice that he had a chance to go ahead and run the ball and kept his eyes downfield looking for receivers, put the ball right on the Sinchak, run it into the flat, and Sinchak, good open field move, made one person miss, and kid had good speed, but no one was able to go ahead and track him. And one of the things that you like is you see a little bit of fire. Tristan did a nice job with that ball, and then he did a great job to celebrate with his teammates at the end. So let's see if we can't keep this momentum rolling.
First of all, we got to welcome in Brian Brozeski. Now, he's done some games for us in the past, so it's not as if he's a stranger to Westmoreland Sports Network. And, of course, we've done many of his games, as well as a Norwin girls basketball coach. But I got to give a shout-out to Coach Tim McCabe. I'm not going to say he's never going to do any games in the future ever again on WSN, but he's taking some time off right now. So I just want to give a massive shout out to him, though. He has just been tremendous, breaking down plays. One of the best color commentators we've ever had, really. So thank you so much to Coach Tim for doing just a marvelous job in, probably a decade of calling Norwin games on WSN. But Tristan Tavares, man, he, again, only a sophomore. I was watching some highlights of the game. He looks pretty comfortable back there, looking downfield, not rushing throws and that kind of thing. So I think he is going to be a very, very good player for Norwin. And
some growing pains last year, as expected, but I think he's going to benefit from all those game reps that he got in 2022. He, much like Wetzel, who we talked about at Greater Latrobe, I think they take big steps forward here this season. We conclude plays of the week going a little bit off the grid here. It's not a Westmoreland County team, but we had to include it. It's Cannon McMillan, because it came at the expense of Westmoreland County's Penn Trafford. It was a defensive battle in this one. 2 great defensive performances by the Warriors and the Big Macs. As a result, the game was scoreless into the third quarter, but fittingly, the first points came via defense as the Big Macs forced a fumble from Derek Carr, and then Jaden Baxter had a scoop and score, giving Cannon McMillan the only points it needed, as called by myself and John Bainbridge.
It's Carr this time. Wow. And he is smoked, and the ball is out, and it is picked up at about the 7-yard line, and this might be a house call. This is going 93 yards
There's a couple bodies down here.
It is a Jaden Baxter fumble recovery touchdown. Players down on both sides, but it looks as though the play will stand. A 93-yard fumble recovery return by Baxter.
There was contact here big time. Both of these players are down.
Yeah, what a massive hit there. And I know Derek Carr was shaken up. I hope he's, still healthy, because that was a heck of a hit. But man, I mean, it boils down, everything that happened in that game boils down to that one play. Penn Trafford scores there, like I mentioned earlier. It's a different game. They did not, and a scoop and score for Cannon McMillan instead.
Yeah, and the Big Macs posting the shutout. Very impressive performance, and certainly that was the biggest play, and that's why it appeared on Plays of the Week.